Hello, bonjour, buenos dias, good day, guten tag, konnichiwa, ciao, shalom, dobre dien. Hello to all the children of the world. Hello everyone. Today I'm coming to you from my house and it is very, very warm out. It feels like the middle of summer. It is so hot out. So I have my air conditioner going in the other room, so it might hear a little bit of a loud noise, and that's what that sound is. But today I have something really exciting I want to share with you. We have been talking all school year about life cycles of different creatures and plants. In the fall, we talked about the life cycle of a butterfly, how it goes from hatching out of its little tiny egg as a caterpillar, and then forms its chrysalis, and then emerges as a butterfly, right? We talked a lot about that process. And in the spring, we've been talking a lot about life cycles. We talked about birds and how birds lay eggs, and they hatch out as baby chicks, and then their mama and daddy birds take care of them and feed them, and they get stronger and stronger, and then they fly out of their nest, and they become adult birds, and it starts all over again. And we've also been talking about plants and life cycle of a plant and how it emerges from its seed, which is kind of like an egg in a way. And once it emerges from its seed, that's called germination, right? That's how it germinates. And it sprouts its roots and its true leaves, and it grows fruit, or it grows a flower and then a fruit, and then the seeds come out and the process starts all over again. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about another life cycle, but this one is about one of my favorite creatures to try to search for in the spring and all throughout the summer. Did you guess frog? Today I'm talking about frogs, because on our walks in the woods and down by streams and ponds and places like that, we have been noticing a lot of frog action. We've been noticing big frogs, and we've also been noticing a lot of frog spawn, which are the eggs of a frog. And it's a little bit different than like baby bird eggs, which are about 3 or 4 that usually are laid in a nest, or a butterfly egg, which is just one on a leaf, or plants, which, you know, the seeds come out and they scatter all around. A mama frog lays her eggs, I'll show you this picture before I even start the book, in a big cluster. Do you see all of that? Look at all of those eggs in there. And those are called frog eggs. And when they're all together, it's called frog spawn. And these will hatch out and become frogs. But when they first hatch, they don't look like a frog. So I'm going to read you this story, and then I want to show you something special, and I'm going to do a little craft with you, and then teach you a song. Okay, so first I'll read the story so we can get to know how a creature hatches out from an egg and becomes a frog. This is called See How They Grow Frog. Scooch out of the way so you can see the pictures. This says, growing in jelly. This frog is my mother. She has just laid these eggs in the water. The eggs are called spawn, just like we talked about. Look at all of those eggs. Each black egg is surrounded by clear jelly, and they all stick together. Each egg is growing into a tadpole. One of them is me. So do you see up close? All those little black dots are little tiny baby frogs, and when they start to develop, they're called tadpoles. They're not frogs yet. And their eggs are a little bit different than bird eggs because they don't have a hard shell. They have a jelly, gooey shell. Just hatched. After 2 weeks, I am ready to hatch. Does that look like a frog to you? Not quite. It's got a lot of growing to do. Look at my long, feathery gills. They let me breathe underwater. So do you see these up close? Those are their gills. which helps them to breathe underwater. And when they first hatch, the gills are on the outside of their body. I push my way through the spawn and swim away. Takes a little while, but they start wriggling and jiggling, and out they come from their little jelly egg cluster, and they start swimming. Tadpole. I am 4 weeks old now. I like to swim with the other tadpoles. So you might have seen tadpoles swimming around in ponds or creeks or little rivers like that where there's nice shallow warm water. And that's the beginning of a frog. Still not a frog yet though. My gills have closed up. Now I swim up to the surface for each breath of air. So once those gills are gone, they have lungs, and so they have to come up to the surface to breathe air. They won't be able to breathe underwater anymore. I am growing bigger and bigger. We all feed on tiny underwater plants. Getting really big. They're not that big in real life. They're much, much smaller. This is where the magic starts happening. Back legs first. I am 6 weeks old, and I have grown much bigger. I eat plants and insects that have fallen into the water. And do you see those teeny tiny little things coming out? Those are gonna be legs. I like to swim by myself now. My back legs are beginning to grow. I am slowly changing into a frog. It's starting to look a little bit more like a frog. Do you see the legs back there? It still has a very long, long tail, and it doesn't have any front arms. Frog pole. I am 9 weeks old. I am half tadpole and half frog. Look, still has a tail and some legs. This is a big one up close. My back legs are growing longer, and now my front legs are growing too. See? The little front legs have popped out. It's definitely looking more like a frog. It's not quite there. A frog at last. I am almost 12 weeks old. I am a frog at last. I still have a long tail to help me swim, but it gets shorter as my body draws it in and changes shape. See, the tail is getting shorter and shorter. Soon my tail will disappear completely. Almost gone. This is a really cool picture. There's a big grown-up frog, and there's a teeny tiny new frog. Look how small it is when it first starts growing into a frog. See how its tail, there's just a teeny tiny bump there? Here is a full-grown frog. Look how small I am beside her. Very tiny. It's so cool to find those tiny little frogs. Out of the water. Now I am more than 1 year old. I spend most of my time on land. I sit quietly looking for an insect to eat. Then I shoot out my long tongue and snap it up. Look at that long tongue. Adult frogs love to eat bugs. And this frog is sitting on a lily pad. A lot of frogs like to sit on top of lily pads because they float on top of the water, and they can just wait there for little bugs to fly by and try to eat them. Now this is cool because it shows us the whole steps of how an egg hatches out and becomes a frog. So here the first step is the egg, all those eggs together, just hatched, right? That's how they look when they just hatch. 4 weeks old, it's getting bigger. 6 weeks old, starting to show some legs. 9 weeks old, see, it just still has its tail. 12 weeks old, it's becoming a frog. And then over 1 year old, now it's an adult frog. Pretty cool, isn't it? And I think on the front it shows another good, yeah, see, it kind of shows it all in a line. Eggs, tadpole, growing, getting a little bit of a leg, growing even bigger, big adult frog. So it's pretty special to see as tadpoles become frogs. And it's the same process that caterpillars go through to become butterflies. It's called metamorphosis. It's a really long word. So that process, when a creature is born as something like a tadpole or a caterpillar, and then changes its shape after it's born and becomes another creature, is called metamorphosis. So a butterfly does that because they're born as caterpillars, and then they create their chrysalis and they emerge as a butterfly. And now we know that frogs go through the same process. They're born as tadpoles, and then they grow their legs and their tail goes inside their body, and they turn into frogs. So the cool thing I wanted to show you is that we have some tadpoles here at my house. Our neighbor collected some from a pond, and they very nicely gave them to us. It's really tricky to see in this jar, unfortunately. So I'm going to try to kind of bring it in a little closer. See if you can see them. They kind of need to swim around a little bit. Maybe if I poke my finger in there. Can you see that? Moving around a little bit. This guy seems to be moving more. Yeah, do you see his tail as it moves? I'll try to take some pictures for you to put on the Google Classroom for your parents to show you. There he goes. You can see his little tail moving. They don't have any legs yet. And I scooped them out of the container. We have a big tank that they're in. And I put rocks on the bottom so they could hide under there. And we feed them boiled lettuce. So I'll give them a little bit right now. I don't think that they're going to eat any, but I'll give them a couple pieces because they might be hungry. Ready? There we go. It's kind of like seaweed. We just plop it in there. And then I'll put these guys back in with their friends. There they go. They're swimming a little bit. So this has been really fun to watch. And if you're down by a pond and you see any tadpoles, you can talk to your parents about maybe collecting a couple with a net and putting them in a jar and bring them home. You might want to scoop up some of the algae that's floating near them because they like to eat that stuff, and bring them in home and put them in a tank. And we leave ours outside, and we put some rocks on the bottom, and we just feed them some of this boiled lettuce, and little bugs fall into their tank and they eat those too. And we're hoping to watch as they sprout their legs and become real frogs. I will keep you posted. I'll take pictures as they grow. We're hoping we can keep them going. So I wanted to show you, I have a cool project that Hawken and I did. Let me scoot back and get my table over here. Here we go. Because we made frog crowns. It's so easy. So what you need is some paper, some scissors. If you don't have kid scissors, your parents can help you cut. Some tape, or a stapler will work too, and maybe some glue. Okay, so you take some green paper, and if you don't have green paper, that's okay. You can just take regular white paper and color it green with a crayon. And take these, and you want to tape them together. I'm going to put them right here. Take my tape. There we go. Just put it right on top. And take the other side so it doesn't fall apart. And then I'm going to put it around my head to make a crown, just like we do birthday crowns at school. Hopefully, oh, it might not fit me. That's okay, I can show you how to do it if it doesn't fit. These are more for kids size. So this is going to be the crown. I'll put this to the side. And then this is going to be the eyes. So I'm going to take this and trace it with this marker. It's kind of hard to see with the camera. Let me see if I can tilt it a little bit. There we go. You might be able to see that a little better. And I'm just going to trace this with my marker. And if that's a little tricky for you, you can have your parents or an older sibling help you. We want 2 big eyes for our crown. Trace around. It's a little tricky to trace. Take some practice. See, it doesn't look perfect, and that's okay. 2 eyes. I'm going to use our scissors to cut them. Cut as much on the line as I can. And cutting out circles is really hard work. And it's okay if it doesn't look just like a circle when you cut it. It's really good practice. And if cutting a circle is too tricky, then you can draw lines and just cut lines and have your mom or dad help you with cutting the circles out. But it's really good to practice our cutting. So I'm cutting these circles out, and I'm doing it very quickly because I'm a grown-up and I've had a lot of practice. And there we go. But they need something, right? They need some circles in the middle. So I'm going to take this crayon and I'm just going to draw one circle in the middle and another circle. There we go. And then I'm going to color it in. Okay? So this is tricky too because it's trying to color in the lines, which we know can be a little challenging, but it's good practice. Coloring this one in. And again, they're not perfect. This one might need a little bit more. There we go. 2 eyes. Okay. And I'm going to put some glue just on the bottom half of the eye. And if you don't have glue, tape will work, but it just might not stay as long. So I kind of like glue for this project. And if you have just the kind of glue that squeezes out, that works too. I have a glue stick here from school, actually. Always put the cap back on, right? So now I've got glue on the bottom half of my circles. I'm going to take my paper and I'm just going to find the sticky side. There we go. And I'm just going to flap it on top, on the top half. See how it's kind of coming off? Like that. See? And then look. Do I look a little bit like a frog? We had a lot of fun doing this the other day, Hawken and I thought you might like to too. And he actually drew a smiley face on his, actually, I don't have it with me. You can draw a smiley face. You could put other things coming off like legs or arms if you want to make it even sillier. You can decorate it however you want to. And you can hop around like a little frog, right? And when you do yours, you'll take the back part, but it just doesn't quite fit my head if I do that. So that's our fun frog craft. And I have one of my favorite springtime songs to teach you next. Put that away. It's called 5 Green and Speckled Frogs. And I'm guessing that many of you know this song because we used to sing it last year. Some of you might recognize this one. It's one of my favorites. I'm just gonna scoot this back that way. There we go. So first we need to get our log, and then we need to get our frogs. So I have 5 frogs here. Okay. And this is a good counting song. It helps us to count backwards. 5 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 4 green speckled frogs. 4 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 3 green speckled frogs. 3 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 2 green speckled frogs. Here they are. 2 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there is 1 green speckled frog. Last one. 1 green and speckled frog sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are no green and speckled frogs. Right? They're all in the water. They ate their bugs, and now they're going for a swim. So I hope you have fun exploring and learning about how tadpoles become frogs. I put lots of fun activities on the Google Classroom for your parents to help you take a look at if you'd like to. There's a really cool video that shows you exactly how a tadpole emerges from its egg and how it turns into a frog. That was my favorite to watch. I really liked that one. And I hope you enjoy the summery weather. Make sure you wear lots of sunscreen and a hat and drink lots of water today because it's a hot one. All right, I'll see you all later. Bye.